Welcome back to the TwinSpires Jury. I'm Ashley Anderson here with James Scully and our special guest today, Joe Kristufek, Joey K, as we call him around here. You'll see him on our Churchill Downs simulcast. He does expert picks for TwinSpires for Churchill, Ellis Park, and Kentucky Downs as well. It's good to have you here, Joe, because I know you're very busy, especially with Kentucky Downs opening weekend.
Expert pick for fairgrounds too, Ashley. Come on.
Sorry.
I'm busier. I'm even
You so
busier
much.
than you think. Now it's great to be here. Great to join you guys. Great to talk some weekend racing. Lots of good stuff going on.
Good to have you back, James. And before we start, I wanted to highlight a few promos real quick. We have our Saratoga money back offer. You can get up to $10 back on your win bet if your horse places second or third in select races. And also check out a number of harness promos that we have as well if you're into harness racing too. And let's get back to the jury. We're going to talk Del Mar, Saratoga, and Kentucky Downs. And we'll let you start off, Joe, with our best bet of the weekend. Where are you going to play that?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty dialed into Kentucky Downs, handling the expert picks there for all 7 days of the meet. Got a long history at that racetrack. Used to do the morning line there and some work at the racetrack itself. And I look forward to this meet every year. Best bet is going to come up in race number 3 on Saturday. Try to give you guys a price with the number 6 Baker's Bay. Now, with Kentucky Downs in these elongated sprint races, the 6.5 plays more like 7 furlongs. So I like to find horses that are cutting back in distance, not horses that are stretching out from 5 or 5.5. This race happens to be 6.5 furlongs. It's a conditioned allowance race. And Baker's Bay had the perfect setup for this race. The last time he ran at Ellis Park, that was on August the 6th in the Kentucky Downs preview turf sprint. He broke slowly, finished 9th, was only beaten a little bit more than 4 lengths. But that race is going to serve as a perfect springboard to 6.5 furlongs at Kentucky Downs. This is a horse that has run upwards of 9 furlongs during the course of his career. Should have an honest to fast pace to run at. And most importantly, Ashley, 8-1 in the morning line on Baker's Bay. Tommy Drury, the trainer, and Joe Talamo aboard. My best bet of the weekend, a horse that I'm looking very forward to sinking my teeth into.
Definitely like that price. What do you think, James?
Well, it's good to have Joe on. Glad to get some Kentucky Downs picks this weekend. I mean, the field sizes are just so exciting there. I am going to go to the Saratoga. Race number 6 is a maiden special weight for 2-year-olds on Saturday. And I'm going to land on number 3, Tom Collins. Now, this is a frosted colt that was entered 3 weeks ago in a maiden, wound a 16th maiden race. It came off the turf. They ran it a mile on the dirt. And despite showing a couple of recent gate works, he just broke out of the gate running, wound up on the lead, wound up like running his second quarter in 23 and 3/5 seconds and was done at that point. But his breeding's all turf. Tom Collins is out of a mare, Party Now. She was a multiple stakes winner on turf, recorded all of her wins on the grass. Both siblings that she's produced, both runners she's produced so far are turf winners. And she's a half sister to a couple graded stakes turf winners. This whole female family is practically turf. So I'm going to look for Tom Collins to really improve upon that debut. I don't think he'll be favored in here, as Todd Pletcher has a really first-time starter. Looks like he'll take a lot of money, but it drew the far outside posts on the inner turf, which is a disadvantage, I believe, for first-time starters. And I'm going to go with Tom Collins in race number 6 at Saratoga. Ashley, who do you have?
Well, I'm going to take it back to Kentucky Downs and the Music City Stakes, and I'm going with number 7, Secret Money at 5-1. This is an overflow field of 16. A lot of interesting horses here, and I'm going to go with this horse at 5-1, a 3-year-old filly who finished a length and third last out in the grade 3 Lake George at Saratoga, set the early pace before she was collared a furlong from home. She posted an 88 Brisnet speed figure. She's picking up Tyler Gaffalione here, who's a 17% winner on turf, always a good jockey to have on the mount in general. And trainer Brendan Walsh is a 29% winner with horses going from a sprint to a route and back to a sprint. So I'm going to take the price on this horse. She owns she's 2 for 5 on the turf and had a career best 90 Brisnet speed figure in her second career start when beating the morning line favorite LJ's Emma in this race. So I'm going to go with Secret Money here. I know, Joe, you might actually have something to say about this race.
I have something to say. You're going to take me on a Kentucky Downs. James picking best bets of horses named after booze. You got to love that. Yeah.
That was the first drink I liked because it was sugary. It was sweet. I hate to say it, a little self-deprecating perhaps, and I was underage, but I used to love the Tom Collins.
Wow. All right, James. I never had a drink before I was 21. All right, so yeah, I'm against the favorite in that race. Actually, LJ's Emma. This is a horse we saw at Churchill in Kentucky that did go to Saratoga and win. But it's that angle I came up with before. This horse is stretching out from 5.5 furlongs to longer distances at Kentucky Downs, which might not play in her favor. So I'm going to take a stand against her. I like your horse a little bit, but the horse I like in there is A Seed for Chad Brown. Has never run on the turf, but you look at the pedigree. The Dam was a grade 3 winner and was grade 1 place on all weather. That should transfer very well to the grass. Into Mischief, you think of him as a dirt sire, but he's good on turf as well. And the last race at Saratoga is an absolute toss-out race. Cutting back in distance, 10-1 on the morning line. I'm going to take a price in the Music City. Like your pick against the favorite, maybe we can get together and make some money in here.
So that's your fade of the week as well as LJ's Emma?
Yes, that's going to be the fade of the week. For all the reasons I said, and I know it's a 7-2 horse in the morning line, and we'd rather come up with something a little more creative, 2-1 or less for our fade of the week. But, Kentucky Downs races are extremely wide open. A lot of times the favorites there are 5-2, 3-1, 7-2 in some of those races. So sorry, Ashley, that's the best I could do for you this week.
All right, James. Well, who are you fading at a short price this week?
Well, I considered a couple horses at Del Mar. I considered Feza in the Torrey Pines. I considered Exalted in the Del Mar Mile. But ultimately, I landed on Proxy, and I'll just talk about Proxy for a second. Trip is everything for this horse. He only runs well when up close. You can look at his past performances. If he was within 5 lengths of the lead at the first call, he fires. If he's further back, he doesn't fire. And obviously last time he went right to the lead, ran a big race in the Clark last year. He was sitting an up close second. It's all Trip for him. But in the Jockey Club Gold Cup on Saturday, Proxy drew the rail. He's got 2 horses to his outside, Unbridled Bomber and Warrior Johnny, his immediate outside in the gate, that have triple-digit early pace ratings to their credit. And horses like Tyson, Duke of Love, and Bright Future all may be more forward than him. So I could envision Proxy dropping back from that inside post, rating off the pace, perhaps getting a little too far back. And I think he's going to be vulnerable at a short price in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Who's your best fade, Ashley?
Well, I'm in the same race as well, and I'm looking at Rattle and Roll. I know this is a very strong horse, had a 3-win streak that was broken just a half length by Westville Power last out. But I'm going to go against both of the morning, well, I assume they're at the morning line favorites. I haven't had the morning line come out yet, but I actually like Proxy a little bit better if he can stay closer to the lead. But I'm going to fade Rattle and Roll, especially coming off a 2-month rest. Kenny McPeak coming off a layoff, just a 9% winner with his last 169 races with horses, coming off of 46 to 90 days of rest. So I also like Bright Future moving up in class, dominant in a 1 1/8 mile allowance optional claimer. For Todd Pletcher had a 100 Brisnet speed figure. So I'm going to look for a longer price here as well and go against Rattle and Roll and Proxy.
Who's going to be the favorite? Is it going to be Proxy or is it going to be Rattle and Roll? I think you can flip a coin. I think Rattle and Roll is a horse I would like of those two for some of the reasons that James said. And people keep doubting Rattle and Roll, but man, he just keeps bringing his game to the track. He's been awesome. One of the best handicap horses in the division right now. And James, it's a weak division. You're talking White Barrio, West Willpower is some of the strongest horses in this division. If you would have told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have told you you were nuts. Jockey Club Gold Cup for me, guys. I'm going to try to knock you out with Tyson. He's only run on synthetics, but he's got some dirt pedigree. He's going to be a price. He's going to get, I think, the right trip. And I'm looking for something a little bit creative in here.
And Proxy, Tyson has certainly run some big races in Canada this year. He's still lightly raced, won his debut, got time off, and has come back strong at Woodbine. Rattle and Roll, it's going to be interesting his trip in there, but I have a lot of respect for that horse because horses that are good early and then go off form often never get back to the top level. I appreciate that about Rattle and Roll. He showed early talent. Things didn't go right for him at age 3, and now he's coming back in the top form. So I do respect him in that Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Well, James, you showed early talent, and you're still in great form, buddy.
No. Well, geez. admiration jury today. Admiration
No,
society.
that was so complimentary. We need
I
to have you back
know. I
more
got to take a
often.
shot at Joe now. I feel like
What can
just
I
kidding,
say?
Joe. I'm going to also mention one other thing real quick. The what else category. I'm going to mention number in the Pacific Classic. Excuse me. I want to mention Skinner. This is a 3-year-old. He's coming back, making his second start off the layoff. And I think he's got a chance to win the race. And I think the reason why I like him is because I think he's going to get the right race flow. He's a colt that won his debut, his first start this year, mid-February, ran a non-threatening third in the San Felipe and really improved upon that race when just missing in the Santa Anita Derby. I think a lot of people talk about the scratches in the Kentucky Derby this year, namely Forte. But people forget Skinner was scratched. He was a dead closer. That race had a really hot pace and it's set up for late runners. And Skinner, to me, would have been right there in the mix if he had not gotten sick. His last race, the Los Alamitos Derby, had no pace, had a quality rival, had everything his own way. I think Reincarnate ran his last eighth of a mile in like 12 seconds, so he had plenty left. But Skinner really made a good run to be second in that race. A perfect setup, going to get a much better race flow in the Pacific Classic. And I think the 10 furlongs hits him between the eyes. So I'm going with Skinner in the Pacific Classic, going to give him the edge over the other 2 3-year-olds. Go Rocket Ride and Arabian Night.
All right. Joe, what else?
I'm here to tell you, James, I agree with you.
All right.
Well, what else are you watching for this weekend, Joe? Any other Kentucky Downs races?
Yeah, I'm all over the Kentucky Downs races this weekend, Ashley. It's really tough in these multi-race wagers to come up with a free space per se, a horse that you really know you can lean on in some of these pick 4s, pick 5s, even pick 3s. And I think Wadsworth is that horse. He's 5-2 in the morning line in the Gun Runner Stakes going a mile. He gets to cut back a little bit in distance. He's got a huge finishing punch. There's some speed in there. He's going to be the favorite and deservedly so. He had to overcome a world of adversity to win at Ellis Park last out. And I think that long stretch of Kentucky Downs that goes on forever and ever and ever and ever is going to really benefit a horse like Wadsworth, an up-and-coming 3-year-old in the turf division.
All right, and I'm taking it back to Del Mar for the Torrey Pines. You kind of mentioned this, James, about Feza, an interesting horse here that probably will get a lot of money and is looking to bounce back after finishing third to Tax in the Black Eye Susan. Before that, she was unbeaten in 5 starts and has looked sharp in morning workouts, but I'm curious to see how number 4 Coffee in Bed performs here. A Curlin filly stretching out to a route for the first time. She won on debut at 6 furlongs and was second and third in her last 2 at 6 and 7 furlongs. The longer distance, I think, will certainly suit her. And Richard Mandela is a 28% winner with first-time route runners. And we'll also have Juan Hernandez on the mount. So I think a lot in favor for Coffee in Bed. What about you, James? I know you said you were thinking about fading Feza here.
Yeah, Coffee in Bed's one of the 2 that I liked. I also like that Anywho. I think those fillies have the speed ratings and they're like lightly raced and have upside and arguably progressing right now at the right time. So I do like your Coffee in Bed. I think she'll run better going a mile this time than she did at a mile to 16th earlier this year.
All right. Well, Joe, anything else you want to leave us with before you go?
I think if you're playing the Kentucky Downs races, play on TwinSpires, first of all. Second of all, those pick 5s, even pick 4s are hard to hit. I would say focus on pick 3s, focus on exactas, focus on horses that you like. You can go a whole card and pick 2 winners, but they could pay $15 and $30. And you don't want to miss a pick 4 or a pick 5 because you can't hit all of those legs. Focus on horses that you like within those races or doubles or pick 3s. I think that's the best piece of wagering advice to give, because if you're going to hit a pick 5, you might hit one the entire meet. You might not hit any. If you do, you're going to get paid, but it might be a little bit expensive to try to put those tickets together.
All right. Full of compliments and also wisdom. We don't always get, handicapping advice like that on the jury. So
That's what I'm here for, Ashley. That's why you brought me in today.
And I think real quick too, taking it to baseball. What do you think about this Reds?
Oh, who they play this weekend? Who they play?
Hey, you're going to
They play
get the
this
best of the Cubs. The Cubs are going to get the best of the Reds pitching staff when they meet up this weekend. Final 4-game set. Going to face Hunter Green and Abbott. Those are 2 L's. So good luck in the other 2 games,
Yeah,
Joe.
we are overachieving right now. NFL starts next week. The Bengals look great, obviously, and the Bears are relevant again. So should be a fun sports season up and through the end of the year, and into early next year. It'll be fun. We'll have some good fodder for conversation even outside of horse racing.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have today on the jury. You can check us out on Tuesday with the Racing Roundtable. We're going to recap a lot of these stakes races we've talked about today. And of course, we'll be back next Thursday for our best bets and fades of the weekend. And be sure to check out those promos on TwinSpires as well. We'll see you next time.